Let's tag a few folks. I'd like to say good afternoon to all of the brothers and sisters in social media land. We are back on the scene. We're going to tag our brothers and our sisters. I'm just going to say greetings to everybody. My growth and my understanding have brought me to a point to where, you know what? I'm addressing people. Because it's a wrap. It's a wrap with all this religious stuff. It's a wrap for it. Either you're going to be one that exemplify the Father's righteousness in this world by living what you know, or either you're just going to be one to talk about it. So, with that being said, I'm just going to say greetings to everybody. But when we're dealing with believers, we're going to come into another video, and we're trying to bring people to a greater understanding. I'm not going to say to the full totality of understanding, but a greater understanding of Passover. And because we don't want what we're doing to be in vain, and we definitely don't want to just be mimicking and doing the same thing that other people did that didn't work. So that's where we're gonna go. Yeah. If you still the kind of person that you offended because somebody say something about Christianity, you ain't nowhere near God's program. And if you somebody that think just because you an Israelite that's gonna make you exempt from exemplifying the Father's righteousness instead of just learning and talking, you ain't nowhere near the Most High's program neither. If you a Muslim coming by way of the seed of Abraham, and you won't know how to exemplify the Father's righteousness in this world that you living in, y'all might as well throw all y'all's books out of the window. Because that tree outside, it don't need no book to live by. It wake up every day and be totally obedient to the Most High. That bird flying through the air. So, but in our case, we know that all things was put in our power. So we had need to be rescued, dealing with mankind. See, the problem is that the Christian and the Israelite, we're too high strong. You know what I'm saying? Because when we start saying things, okay, Israel get caught up in the curses, and Israel is up under curses, and and the Christian get caught up in the fact, Jesus is Lord, and Jesus is the Christian. It's about Christian. We the new Israel. But it ain't about the Christian or the Israelite. The Israelite and the Christian are only a part of the process. The whole purpose is about Adam. And Adam's represent the whole of mankind. Not no religious organizations or no religious constructs. The covenant that was made with Adam before it ever was a religion, before he ever needed a law, before he ever needed anything. And that's where we got to get our minds back. We got to get our minds back right. So when we start talking about understanding the Passover is going to be directly connected to the covenant that the Most High made with Adam when he declared that after Adam suffered his punishment, that one would come to restore him. And so, I don't think there's nothing wrong with having something to identify with, but if what you identifying with put a blockade up to where you don't understand the fullness of what's taking place, then it's going to just become words. So we're trying to get our brothers and sisters to understand Passover. And so we're going to start with some very simplistic things to build a platform so that brothers and sisters can really understand what's being said. A lot of times people just hear something and then they'll run off because they don't understand what's being said. So the first place that we're going to start is we're going to start in that, what is that, the Oxford Annotated?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got young King Rashard on there. King Rashard, you can greet your brothers and sisters on the line.
Yes, sir. Shalom. Shalom, everybody.
Okay, we got King Rashard on there. He's going to be doing the reading for him because, my God, King Rashard, I cannot see those words in that Oxford, though. That ain't no joke. I could barely see those words with glasses on. So we're going to start in this Oxford Annotated Bible, and we're going to deal with the breakdown of a particular word before we go into this lesson, because we'll be precepting upon precept, but we won't be precepting within the framework of the 66 books. We will be precepting other resources with what's contained in the 66 books, and we will also be paralleling some things that are contained in the 66 books versus some things that are contained in other books that contain scripture, so that we can be able to show a level of corruption by the pen of the scribe. And then you can draw a line of distinction. So let's take off, King. Go ahead, read what you got.
You want me to start at the beginning, or you want me to start at the definition?
Yeah, I want you to start at the definition.
Okay. Canon, a Greek word meaning read, came to refer to any straight stick that could be used for measuring. This basic meaning was extended to refer to any rule or standard by which things could be compared or judged. The Alexandrian grammarian, classical Greek writers, who were not simply grammarians, but also what we would call literary critics, used canon as their term for the list of standard or classic authors who were worthy of attention and imitation. Mm-hmm. This was not a closed category, and there were disputes about adding or removing works from the list. Furthermore, in conclusion, on the list merely recognized a work's quality. It did not confer any new status. Nevertheless, a canon of writings came to denote those texts that were of central importance to a given group. When used in reference to the Bible, canon has an even stronger significance. Not only is a given set of texts included, but all other texts, no matter how worthy otherwise, are excluded.
Now, that's the Greeks. Canon is a Greek word. It's constructed by Greeks, and it means to read, rod, or stick, or some type of measuring to determine whether a thing would be acceptable, whether a thing would be not acceptable. And see, things I try to get our brothers and sisters to understand is that the people that had put the KJV into book form were these same people. And this is where you get what people say, oh, the books are canonized. Okay, but we see right here, read that very last part where it's talking about even the important things being left out.
Yes, sir. It says, when used in reference to the Bible, canon has an even stronger significance. Not only is it a given set of texts included, but all other texts, no matter how worthy otherwise, are excluded.
See, so it was a debate on what was going to be included. But ultimately, those texts that seemed to be of the utmost importance were excluded. So when you start talking about looking at the Bible and understanding these things that the Messiah came to do, you have to realize that the people that done these things and constructed these books constructed them in such a way to where they would chop off the tail on one end, chop off the head on the other end, and in some places the whole body would be removed so that the people could never get a full understanding of just what the Christian calls the sacrificial work of the Messiah, which is not the sacrificial work of the Messiah at all, because there is a difference between a sacrifice and just flat out murder. Okay? Now, so we're dealing with this because when we start precepting things, and precept upon precept is simply command upon command, and that is instruction of Jesus or Yeshua, whichever you choose to call. I will use it interchangeably because of the platform and the different peoples that are on here. So Jesus says, let every thought be established in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. That means that you have to be able to go from 2 or 3 different places to pull your resources together to establish a thing as truth. He also said, even in your court system, that is known to you in this physical world, you must have 2 or 3 witnesses to convict the person, or it takes 2 or 3 witnesses to establish a thing as truth. Okay, so when we start precepting, we will not be precepting based on all of the things that are contained in the KJV. Our precepting will come from different resources, but they will either confirm the things that are in the KJV, or they're going to show you the errors that are in the KJV, which is the King James Version. And the reason why it's important is that you have to understand is that the people that reconstructed these things, they had erred in their way on purpose as a means to stagnate the growth of the people as they sought to serve the Most High Heavenly Father. So we wanted to bring that out because we don't want to be people to be turned off when we start going to other places. And they're like, where you get that book from? Where you get that book from? You know what I mean? Because you've been brought to a mindset to where you think that everything, you think that the Bible, the King James Version, is the grand sum total of God's wisdom, which is complete foolishness. And that's a form of insanity, that somebody can make you think that the grand sum total of the Most High's wisdom could be contained in one book that your enemies put together. It was the people that dominated the children of Israel that took their scrolls and then put them in book form, but they left out the things that would cause the children of Israel to be able to identify their wickedness. And they gave us this thing. And you'd be surprised how many people, see, our brothers and sisters at the helm of the church, they're up under this hell-born doctrine. And they can't teach their people in fullness with clarity to where their minds can change and they can really understand or see growth. How you going to do it? How you going to do it if half of it is missing? How you going to do it if you only get one piece of the story and then the other piece of the story is gone? You tell me. So this word canon, don't ever let nobody tell you anything. Oh, it ain't canonized. Because you can't canonize the Most High's word. Now let me show you what God's canon is. What God's canon is. God's canon is only one page. In one page of the book, the whole grand sum total of the Most High's purpose for mankind can be summed up in one page. And that is the standard that we're going to set as we start dealing with the issue of Passover, because those are our building blocks. So, King, what I want you to do is, first thing I want you to do is let's go read God's canon. Let's start at Genesis 1. Because God's canon is unchangeable. You cannot add to it. You cannot take away from it. It says what it says. It means what it means. And ain't no man could change it. Because the Most High is unchangeable. So, let's go there. Then we'll take off running. Like to say good afternoon to all the brothers on there. Marcus Smith, if you're still on there, I see you, brother. Good to see you. Yep. So.
Yes, sir. You ready?
Yep. Let's go.
All right. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1.
Hold up, King Rashard. Let's stop with this question right here. Are we supposed to wait on something to revenge us, or is it wrong for me to bust the head of the white meat. Well, you know, we bust each other's head on a daily basis. So I say to you this is that as it relates to us dominating our enemies as a whole, we can't do it. We don't have no choice but to wait because the Most High have not given us no might. We don't have no military might. We don't have no political might. We don't have no financial might. So that puts us in a place to where we are unable to defend ourselves. But the Most High put us there for a reason because He said, I will defend and I will protect what is rightfully mine. But that's when it comes to the Most High's will. Self-preservation is rule number one. So if you have an encounter with somebody, no matter who it is, whether they be white, whether they be black, whether they be Chinese, I don't care where it's at. If you got conflict with somebody and they are threatening to do you harm, then you better bust a head. I don't care what kind of meat you find that it is. So in that standpoint, you know, but just to think that, okay, well, I'm mad about everything that goes in the Bible, so I'm about to go out here and I'm going to bust me, I'm going to open me up a white person's head. Well, you can't do that because it's not the white person's fault. It's your forefathers' fault. It's your forefathers' rebellion that caused the Most High to put us in the position that we're in. So, but we know what the Most High desires. He said, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. So, you know, anytime anybody puts you in a position to where it make you want to harm them, then you have to remove yourself and stay out of situations like that. Even if it ain't nothing but a conversation, avoid anything, any conversation, any situation that will bring you into a place of conflict where you will have to harm your brother. Because though he may have a pale face and pale skin, he is still your brother. So that's the best answer I can give you on that question. Okay, so we're going to let King Rashard take our reading while I get me a piece of tissue so I can blow my nose. All right, King.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form, and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning was the second day. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning was the third day. And God said, let there be light in the firmament of heaven, to divide the day from the night. And let there be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundance, the moving creatures that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God created great whales and every living creature that moved, which the waters brought forth abundantly after their kind, and every winged fowl after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters in the sea, and let the fowl multiply in the earth. And the evening and the morning were the fifth day. And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creatures after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after his kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and everything creeping, every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day.
Now let's look at this according to the Greek word canon. Because all of these things that the Most High done, is there one person that has life that can raise up and declare how long this earth been here? You see, there ain't nobody that can do it. There is nobody that can bring anything against the Most High's canon. Henceforth, it becomes the measuring stick, the rod, or the rule of law, whereby all things must be measured by. Anybody that tries to measure or justify anything that does not line up with what the Father done from day 1 to day 6, let them be classified as a liar from the pits of hell, because everything that comes after what God declared was good and very good is sin. It's a fallen nature. So, everything is going to get put up against this righteous canon. All right? Now, so let's see. What we're going to deal with is we're going to show you, first off, some of the things that the wicked of this world have done with the KJV scriptures in order to keep the Most High's people in a place of sin. The average mindset do not want to identify with the fact that the greatest sin that man ever committed was to eat the wrong things. That's the greatest sin man ever committed. Because man was without sin until he ate the wrong things. And so when we start talking about the Passover, you must have an understanding of why the Messiah is going to get sent into the world. The Messiah is coming into the world for a reason. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1 so we can see why the Messiah is coming into the earth.
Matthew chapter 1, what verse?
Start with the first verse. Start right there. Look, Timothy Warren, I know you. I want you to make your comments and I want you to make your statements, but I don't want you to be writing no books and just constantly commenting and become a distraction for the brothers and sisters. We're really trying to go somewhere. Okay, so everybody ain't on your level of learning, and you have to be mindful of that, because what you can do is you can become one that steals the word from the Father's people if you distract somebody from hearing something. You have to understand that you have to be able to deal with the people that are on the same level of your learning. Those people that are not on your level of learning, you can easily confuse and then pull them away from hearing the things that's meant to be said. So let's do things with order, King. And you were right to an extent, but to another extent, it is not the people's fault. You see, because when you have been taught something from a child, the only thing you know is what people have taught you. And if you are never exposed to the truth, then the lies that you live by will be as truth. So, as we said before, you have to be very conscious, because the Most High himself going to bring you into account for every idle word that you speak to. And if you speaking something, it could be true. But if somebody's confused about it, and they get the wrong understanding, then God gonna hold you accountable for it. So you have to navigate. You have to navigate through that and be able to connect with people that can comprehend your level of learning. Most of the brothers and sisters that be on these threads, they are not at your level of learning. So a lot of things they won't be able to comprehend. You know what I mean? But you're gonna have to learn how to digress and break the food down a little bit and turn it into breadcrumbs. All right? All praises. All praises.
Yes, sir. I don't think you want Matthew 1:1. I think you want John 1:1.
John 1:1? Oh, no. I want Matthew 1:1.
You do?
Hold on. I want the part where it's telling why the Messiah is coming and what he told Mary. He should go to Matthew 1 and start at verse 18.
Okay. All right, Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on this wise, when as his mother Mary was expounded to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her public example, was minded to put her away purely. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins.
Stop right there.
Now,
stop right there. So, the reason that this child is coming into the world is to do a specific thing, right?
Yes, sir.
That thing is to save his people from their sin, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you put that up against the Most High's righteous canon, what sin is he coming to save the people from?
Appetite.
That's right. That's right. He coming to save them from their destruction, which comes from them not being able to control their appetite. You see? So the greatest sin is our forefather was not able to control his appetite. And so from this particular thing and the reason why the Messiah is coming, you're going to have all of these other things that men have made festivals out of, that they have made religions out of, that they have made all of these different things out of. And because of all of these different things, that the heart of man still is not what it's supposed to be, because it have been clouded out. Every time a truth comes, instead of taking the truth and applying the truth to your life, we take the truth and we build another construct with it. And the truth don't never have an effect. So when we look at what sin, we know what sin Adam committed. Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil, which opened their eyes to a world of wickedness. So, let's go here, King. You got your Gospel of the Holy 12 up?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're going to start right here with some misnomers that are dealing with the KJV. So let's go to let's go to Lection chapter 1 and begin reading at the first verse.
Yes, sir.
You're going to read from verse 1. You're going to read from verse 1 to verse 5.
Yes, sir.
Now keep this in mind. Everything that's being said is going to be put up against the Most High's righteous canon, and then you have to be the judge to determine, does this line up with what God said, or I smell a rotten egg somewhere. Because everything that God said, everything that's contained in these books is going to line up with what God said from day 1 to day 6.
All right, Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 1, verse 1. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abiah, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. And they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before God in the order of his court, according to the customs of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Iowa. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of the offering of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing over the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall neither eat flesh meat, nor drink strong drink. And he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb.
Stop right there. Now, when you look at what's contained in the KJV, what does it say about John the Baptist's diet?
It say he ate locusts.
He ate locusts and wild honey, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, let's compare these and see which one of them lines up with the Most High's canon. We also read when you started that, okay, shut up, dog. Now, let's compare the two. Now, the people got to judge for themselves. Because we know that the Most High told Adam and Eve that they could eat all the trees and they were forbidden. He gave them their diet, everything that grew out the ground. Now, in the King James Version, people have come to understand that John the Baptist ate locusts and wild locusts and honey, right? Read that again. Read what it says before John the Baptist was ever born, what was told to his mother and father.
Yes, sir. Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 1, verse 5. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall neither eat flesh meat, nor drink strong drink. And he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb. So
here we have what looks like a contradiction. But it's really not a contradiction. It's deception. It's corruption. Because somebody took what was contained in the Holy Scrolls and then changed it to something that was based on their culture. The Gentiles were accustomed to eating the Father's creation and sacrificing the idols, not just the Gentiles, but the heathen nations as well. And that's how we learned it. We learned it from the Egyptians. Okay, but here we see it, that John the Baptist would not eat no flesh, nor, now go to Lection 7 and read verse 4.
Yes, sir. This is Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 7, verse 4. And the same John had his remnant of camel's hair and a girdle on the same about his loins. And his meat was the fruit of the locust tree and wild honey.
His meat was what?
The fruit of the locust tree.
Now, what you got to ask yourself, in order to be able to identify with the truth, you got to put everything up against what God said from day 1 to day 6. Now, which one of these pieces of writing can line up with what's contained with God's canon?
All of it.
You see, the fruit of the locust tree is what lines up.
Yes, sir.
Not no locust that's flying through the air, because that's flesh and blood. Now let's go to Lections. Let's go to 2. We're going to deal with the Messiah, because somebody gave me a scripture a while back, and I knew it was there in the Luke 21st chapter, 24th chapter, 41st verse, where it's talking about the Messiah got up out the grave, seen his disciples, and while he was in the midst of trying to persuade them that it was really him, all of a sudden, he just burst out and asked, has anybody got any meat? Where did that come from? See, what we're showing you is how the scriptures read identically until that there's a certain thing that keeps being interjected in there, and it's the eating of animals' flesh. And that will never line up with what's contained in Genesis 1. So let's go and let's read Lection 2, beginning at verse 1. And we're going to read from verse 1 to verse 7.
Yes, sir. All right, Gospel of the Holy 12, chapter 2, Lection 2, verse 1. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto the city of Galilee, named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. Now Joseph was a just and rational mind, and he was skilled in all manner of work in wood and in stone. And Mary was a tender and discerning soul, and she wrought veils for the temple. And they were both pure before God, and of them both was Jesus, who is called the Christ. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail Mary, thou that art highly favored, for the motherhood of God is with you. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed be the fruit of thy womb. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in the womb and bring forth a child, and he shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Then said Mary unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a name? And the angel answered and said unto her, The Holy Ghost shall come unto Joseph, thy spouse, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee, O Mary. Therefore also that holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Christ, the child of God, and his name on earth shall be called Jesus Mary. For he shall save the people from their sins, whosoever shall repent and obey his law. Therefore ye shall eat no flesh, nor drink strong drink, for the child shall be consecrated unto God from his mother's womb.
You see that? He shall be consecrated from his mother's womb, and he shall not eat flesh, nor shall he drink. He shall not drink strong drink, nor shall he drink wine. He will be consecrated from his mother's womb. Who will come and make the Messiah a meat eater, the flesh and blood eater, to keep the Father's people, going against him, his righteous canon? Now, which one adds up? What Luke said about him eating flesh, or what this book says about him not eating meat, not eating flesh from his birth? Which one of those can add up to the Father's righteous canon? The people that are viewing the videos, you got to be the one. You got to be the one to pick and choose. And if they tell you something ain't canonized, then guess what? You're going to lean to the thing that's false that men have done, when it don't line up with what God done on day 1 through day 6. This is detrimental and hazardous to the one that have a heart to serve the Most High. But your ignorance will not be an excuse. Now let's go down and show you what sins that the Messiah came to save his people from. Let's go to Lections chapter 4 and commence the reading at verse 2. Man, I hate to get excited like that, man, but when I think about the games that have been played on the people that's trying to serve the Most High, and how their growth have been stagnated because a spell of canonization have been cast on them. And they don't understand is that the canonization is something that they got you to accept as hellborn to stop you from ever receiving the things that are really true, the things that will really line up with what was contained on day 1 to day 6. And I done heard some of these so-called Hebrew Israelite leaders are the first ones that'll jump up and declare that something ain't canonized. But when you put it up against what God said from day 1 to day 6, you see it line up. And the thing that you're holding dear to, teaching your people, the pen of the scribe, have corrupted. And the people, you better make sure that you're sitting up under the right people when you're seeking to learn something. Let's go, King. Commence the reading at verse 2. We're going to see the sin. We know that Adam fell into sin when he ate from the forbidden tree. But the forbidden tree caused that same sin that he fell from to lead him into a greater place of debauchery and wickedness. And we're going to see what sin that the Messiah came to save the people from, because you won't see it. You will see it in the King James Version. Oh, he came to save his people from their sin, but you won't see what the sin was that he came to save them from, because they know if they put that in there, you would automatically wake up and come back from day 1 to day 6. Let's go, King.
Yes, sir.
Good God Almighty.
Chapter 4, Lection 4, verse 2. I think I'm in the right spot, but we'll see. It says, and Joseph and Mary also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea, into the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because they were of the house and the lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn child in a cave, and wrapped him in a swaddling cloth, and laid him in a manger, which was in the cave, because there was no room for them in the inn. And behold, it was filled with many lights, bright as the sun in his glory. And there were in the same cave an ox and a horse, and an ass, and a sheep. And beneath the manger was a cat with her little one. And there were doves also overhead, and each had its mate after its kind, the male and female, the male with the female. Thus it came to pass that he was born in the midst of the animals, which through the redemption of man from ignorance and selfishness, he came to redeem from their suffering, but the manifestation of the sons and the daughters of God by the manifestation.
Now, I want you to read that again so that people can understand the sin that the people were committing. You see, the Messiah was born in an animal barn. He was born outside in a barn, and in that barn there was a horse, there was an ox, there was a cat and her kittens. There were all kind of animals there. And because of the corruption of fallen man, they had begun to slaughter the Most High's creation. Henceforth, he said, I have come because of the suffering of my Father's creatures to redeem man from their wickedness, that these things be put back right like they're supposed to be. Now read it again, King, so that they can get a full comprehension of the sin that we've been continuously committing since we left the garden as we slaughtered the Father's creation.
Yes, sir. It says, thus it came to pass that he was born in the midst of the animals, which through the redemption of man from ignorance and selfishness, he came to redeem from their suffering. By the manifestation,
he came to redeem them from what?
Their suffering.
And who is he talking about?
The animals and
he is talking about the animals, because the people wasn't suffering. It's the animals that was suffering. Every time we go and kind of put them on a plate, the animals got to be slaughtered. They got to be killed. Their life have to be taken away in order for us to do that. And it became a wicked act, the same wicked act that our forefather Adam committed in the garden when he ate that was forbidden for him to eat. And you talking about, people talking about they love Jesus. Well, you ain't never knew what sin he came to save you from. But you can hear it right now. Read it again, King.
Yes, sir. It says, thus it came to pass that he was born in the midst of the animals, which through the redemption of men from ignorance and selfishness, he came to redeem from their suffering, by the manifestation of the sons and the daughters of God.
See? Now, we're preaching John the Baptist. Let's go down to Lection 7. Lection 7 and commence the reading at verse 8. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to show you that we ain't never been taught properly. They've been sticking dead things in our mouth since we was sitting in high chairs as little babies. Our parents didn't know that. They would drag us to church, and then after church, we'd go downstairs and eat some pork chops or some pig feet or some hog maws. Never mind the fact that thing once had life, and in order for us to eat it, somebody had to take its life away, which was a cruel, unrighteous act that thou shalt not kill. We didn't know no better. And then we didn't understand why we brought disease into this world through eating of flesh and blood, through the eating of dead things. We didn't understand why the old folks had high cholesterol, sugar diabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, colon cancer, strokes. We didn't understand. We just thought it was a part of old age, but we didn't have no idea because somebody strategically got us to go in the wrong direction. And we're still going in the wrong direction until this day. Because he who eats dead things is a consumer of death. And I know that we don't look at it like that, but in order for you to eat a piece of flesh and blood or a steak, that thing has to be killed. And if it's killed, then that means that it's dead. And if you put dead things into a live body, the dead thing will kill the live body. And we are living witness of it as we look at the hospitals all over the world that's full, as we look at the people on prescription drugs and all of these different things. The first thing the doctor tell you is you got to cut out the red meat. You got to get off the pork. You got to change your diet. You need to eat more fruits. You need to eat more vegetables. We don't listen to the Most High, but we'll listen to the bad doctor's report. So, let's go, King. John the Baptist.
All right, this is Section 7, verse 8. Then came also certain tax gatherers to be baptized, and said unto him, Master, what shall we do? And he said unto them, Exact no more than that which is appointed you, and be merciful after your ability. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do? And he said unto them, Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with sufficient wages. And to all he spake, saying, Keep yourselves from blood and things strangled, and from dead bodies of birds and beasts, and from all deeds of cruelty, and from all that is gotten of wrong. Think ye that the blood of beasts and of birds will wash away sin? I tell you, nay, speak the truth, be just, be merciful to one another, and to all creatures that live, and walk humbly with your God.
You see, these are the things that John the Baptist was preaching to people before the Messiah got on the scene, because John the Baptist knew what the Messiah was coming to do. He knew what sin he was coming to save the people from. So from John the Baptist's birth, his mother and Zacharias was told that he would not eat flesh and blood from his birth, nor drink wine. He would be consecrated. And his mission was to go before the people and start preaching a message that they had never heard before, because the only thing that they had ever been exposed to is their forefathers sacrificing animals, thinking that it was going to atone or take their sins away. But it never did take their sins away. So read it again, King. Read that again that's written in red.
Yes, sir. It says, And to all he spake, saying, Keep yourselves from blood and things strangled, and from dead bodies of birds and beasts, and from all deeds of cruelty, and from all that is gotten of wrong. Think ye that the blood of the beast and of the birds will wash away sin? I tell you, nay. Speak the truth, be just, be merciful to one another, and to all creatures that live, and walk humbly with your God.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. He said, keep yourself from blood and from dead bodies of birds, chicken wings, dead body from birds, turkey, dead body from beasts, cattle, pork, dead body from the animals. He said, because this is the reason that the Messiah came into the world. Because the creation was groaning and in such a terrible shape because of men. Look at the condition that the animals are in now as you go to the slaughterhouses and the places where the meat come from. Look at the condition of the animals. As a cow has a lifespan of at least 25 years in the slaughterhouse, his lifespan is 4 years, and he stands up on his feet throughout the whole time, never getting the opportunity to lay down and rest, never getting the opportunity to nurse and care for his babies, never getting the opportunity to live the life that the Most High declared he should live in the garden when he blessed them and told them to be fruitful and multiply. And some joker want to come along and try to justify taking the life of the animal away. I've been guilty myself. That's why my convictions run so high. Look at him. Look at the chickens out there. Look at all of them that we eat every day for chicken wings, not even thinking of the fact that we're committing the greatest wicked act against the Most High. And you worried about, oh Lord, help me stop smoking. Oh Lord, help me stop drinking. He says smoking and drinking ain't your problem. Lection chapter 33. We bringing it home because we want people to understand what this Passover is really all about. And you getting together and you're going to have a Passover, but you're going to commit the most wicked sin that's contained in the scripture in the name of the God, and then be misleading your brothers and sisters while you do it. Ain't nothing wrong with celebrating Passover and commemorating what the Messiah did, because he was the innocent lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world. That was something that was supposed to deal with our hearts in a way. It was supposed to make us soft in there. It was supposed to make us remorseful when we see something innocent have to lose his life on our behalf. But no, in our wickedness, following our wicked forefathers, an act that was supposed to change our heart now became a religion that we just thought we're going to mimic it. So we're going to kill the lamb every year. We're going to kill this every year. Does that make any sense? And does it line up with God's righteous canon, what he made from day 1 to day 6? Tell me. You see? Everybody all in an uproar. Don't nobody know nothing about when none of this stuff is. And everybody moving their wickedness. And I know this ain't a popular message, but I don't care nothing about whether it's popular. I ain't in no popularity contest. Once upon a time, I didn't know nobody in social media. Half of the people I don't know no way. This ain't no popularity contest. We're dealing with the word. Passover. A lamb, an innocent creature, had his throat cut so his blood could be put on the doorpost that the Father would pass by. The thing was designed to teach men and to make men remorseful for their own sin while they witnessed something that was innocent had to be put to death on their behalf. And they didn't learn the lesson from that. Because rather than to learn the lesson and be remorseful for their wickedness that some innocent had to die on behalf of them for their preservation, they began to do the same thing every single year. And in this hour right now, we got brothers out there that's going to go and hang a lamb upside down and slit his throat until all his blood run out and claim that they are doing the will of the Father when they are walking in the footsteps of their wicked forefathers. And I don't have no problem telling you that. Come on, King.
You want me to start at verse 1?
Start at verse 1.
All right, Leviticus 33, verse 1. Jesus was teaching his disciples in the outer court of the temple. And one of them said unto him, Master, it is said by the priest that without shedding of blood there is no remission of sin. Can then the blood offering of the law take away sin? And Jesus answered, No blood offering of beast or bird or man can take away sin. For how can the conscience be purged from sin by the shedding of innocent blood? Nay, it will increase the condemnation. The priest indeed receives such offerings as reconciliation of the worshippers for trespasses against the law of Moses. But for the sins against the law of God, there can be no remission, save by repentance and amendment.
You see that?
It is written.
You see that right there? You see that right there? They said the priests tell us that we supposed to bring the animal for our seniors. Okay. That don't shed blood of bird, beast, nor man don't save you from no sin. Period. Period. Okay. He said, but what it do is it restore you back to the law of Moses from your transgression. You ain't got no priest now. So you can't be restored back to the law of Moses for your transgression. Because the Messiah done been here and gone. Now, if you don't have that to restore you back to, you don't have no excuse for killing no creature. Now, just think of all the creatures that you partake of that's being slaughtered. Look at how much our condemnation continues to increase with the Most High. Because not only are we partakers of those that are murdering his creation, we also become partakers of those that are eating things that have been strangled, that have suffered horrific deaths, and that have been sacrificed to the idol gods of this world. What do you think, King?
It's a lot, brother. I'm just over here. I don't even know what to say.
Let's go. Let's go
and
here.
I kept on reading.
Huh?
I
Go
kept
ahead.
on reading.
Huh?
I'm going to read it a little bit more.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep on reading.
It is not written. Hold on. Is it not written in the prophets? Put the blood sacrifices to your burnt offerings and away with them, and cease ye from eating of flesh? For I spake not to your fathers, nor commanded them when I brought them out of Egypt concerning these things. But these things I commanded, saying, obey my voice and walk in the way that I have commanded you. And ye shall be my people, and it shall be well with you. But they hearken not, nor incline their ear. And what doeth the Eternal command you, but to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God? Is it not written that in the beginning God ordained the fruits of the trees and the seed and the herbs to be food for all flesh? But they have made the house of prayer a den of thieves, and in place of pure oblation with incense, they have polluted my altar with blood, and eat of the flesh of the slain. But I say unto you, shed no innocent blood, nor eat ye flesh. Walk uprightly, love mercy, and do justly, and your days shall be long in the land.
See, so when we dealing with Passover, Passover is in direct dealing with the Father's creation, because he created man, but he created the animals first. The animals were with him first and had a relationship with the Father. And then he created man to care for those animals. When Adam fell into sin, they ceased to be responsible for the things that were put in his care. And rather than to care for his creation, the forefathers began to eat the creation because of what they seen other people doing. It was the ultimate sin. And so when people start talking about Jesus came and died for the sins of the world, well, what was the sin that the world was committing? What is the sin that the world is still committing? Those people that have made the Messiah's death in vain, because he came to die, to be put to death because of the sin that men were committing as they slaughtered and ate the animals. That was the sin. And this is still the sin. And even though the Messiah have come and died, and people talking about they believe in him, you have built back up that altar, that temple that he destroyed. Now, I got something else. Out of the same gospel of peace, take heed therefore, and defile not with all kinds of abomination the temple of your bodies. Be content with 2 or 3 sorts of food, which you will find always upon the table of your earthly mother. Back to the beginning. Of all the fruits of these trees and these grain, you shall freely eat. There is much that can be said about this. Watch this. And Jesus answered, it was said of them by old time, all beasts that move upon the earth, all fish of the sea, and all fowl of the air are given into thy power. And I tell you truly, of all the creatures living upon the earth, God created only man after his image. Wherefore beasts are for man, and man not for beast. You do not therefore transgress the law if you kill a wild beast to save your brother's life. For I tell you truly, man is more than the beast, but he who kills the beast without a cause, though the beast attack him not, and he kills the beast for lust, for slaughter, or for his flesh to eat, or for his hide to wear, or yet for its tusks to sell. Evil is the deed which he committed, for he is turned into a wild beast theirself. See, when we start dealing with Passover, you got to understand what it was that the Messiah, what sin that the world was committing, that the Messiah came to save us from. You can't say that you celebrating Passover and you about to smoke up the world. That ain't no Passover. Go, read Lection 75 for him. Let them see what Passover is really about. And then, King Rashard, I'm going to turn you loose and you can bring forth whatever you want. Let's look at the Passover. But no, I got to get something else. I'm about to get something else too myself. God, our people, man, got our people out here tripping. Got our people out here tripping. And, you know, they can say what they want. But the Christian church, they are closer to Passover than any Israelite. Because the Messiah said, my body is going to be broken for you. Because I'm going to stop people from killing the Father's creation. And my blood is going to be spilt for you. He said, my body is representation of this bread, and my blood is representation of this wine. And as often as you do these things, you do them in remembrance of me. And so every month, the Christian church or the black church as we know it, every month, there is what you call communion, where they pass out the bread and they pass out the little grape juice. And this is representative of the Lord's Supper. They ain't going to kill no animal that the Messiah was put to death to stop the killing of animals. That is the closest that you can come to communion. It's doing those things from a symbolic standpoint to commemorate the lamb that was slain from the foundation of the world. What you got, King?
Okay, I'm ready. Lection 75. Chapter 1. And the physical supper being ended, the lights were kindled, for it was evening.
That ain't it.
You sure?
That ain't it. It's, is election 75? It's where the Passover was. I want them to see how the Passover is really supposed to be done.
Okay, it's 74. Let me start I guess I'll start at 1 here. It says, and at evening the master cometh into the house, and there are gathered with him the 12 and their fellows, Peter and Jacob and Thomas and John.
See, you know what this do? Hold on, you know what this do? See, this slaughters the life out of any religion because all of them are guilty. All of them are classified as guilty. The Christian is guilty. The Israelite is guilty. The Muslim is guilty. The whole world is guilty. It ain't going past religion, and we are dealing with mankind itself as we look at the sin that our father Adam fell up under. Everybody is guilty. If you can't pull yourself together with day 1 to day 6 and line up with these scriptures right here, the whole world is guilty. Ain't no room to talk about nobody.
Right.
Go on and read that, King.
Yes, sir. And at the evening the master cometh into the house, and there are gathered with him the 12 and their fellow, Peter and Jacob and Thomas and John, and Simeon, and Matthew, and Andrew, and Nathaniel, and James, and Thaddeus, and Jude, and Philip, and their company. And there was also Judas Iscariot, who by men was numbered with the 12 to the time when he should be manifested. And they were all clad in garment of white linen, pure and clean. For linen is the righteousness of the saints. And each had the color of his tribe. But the master was clad in his pure white robe over all, without seam or spot. And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the youngest, and he that is chief as he that doeth serve. And Jesus said, with desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I
Okay,
come.
stop right there. Okay, brothers and sisters, you're going to deal with Passover, okay? So you're going to deal with the Passover. I want you to pay attention to what the Messiah is instructing, because the Messiah himself is obedient to the law, and he understood what the Passover represented. And he is now on the scene to abolish the second half of the wicked evil that the children was committing, which is sacrifice. But he also knows that because he's about to take these animals away from these people, they're going to put him to death. Henceforth, there will be a new Passover instituted that removed men from their sin and animals from their suffering. So now he is dealing with the disciples about the Passover that they're now going to commemorate, which would be dealing with him, which would be the lamb that would be slain before the foundation of the world. Because when they slayed the lamb in Egypt, there was a foreshadowing of the one that was going to come to restore Adam and his seed back to the garden. But they didn't get the message, so they started repetitiously repeating the process of killing the lamb and moved into a greater wickedness of sin. And now he is about to come to abolish that thing, but he is going to be put to death for it, and henceforth he will become the lamb in the book of Revelation that will be slain before the foundation of the world for the remission of man's sin and for the salvation of the creatures that wicked men had brought up under suffering. So let's go, King.
Yes, sir. It says, and Jesus said, with desire I desire to eat this Passover with you before I suffer, and to institute the memorial of my oblation.
See, he's going to institute a memorial of his oblation, because he is coming to save his people from the sin that they have been committing against the creation that God declared was good.
For the service and salvation of all. For behold, the hour cometh when the Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of sinners. And one of the 12 said unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered, He to whom I shall give a sop when I have dipped it, the same is he. And Issachar said unto him, Master, behold thy unleavened bread, the mingled wine, and the oil, and the herb. But where is the lamb that Moses commanded? For Judas had brought the lamb, but Jesus had forbidden that it should be killed.
He what?
He forbidden that it should be killed.
He what?
He forbidden.
You Israelite brothers that think you commemorating something on behalf of the Messiah, he did what?
Forbidden that it should be killed.
He forbidden that they would kill another innocent creature in his name, in the Father's name. He said, I'm the one that's going to be put to death so that you don't never put to death another one of my Father's creatures. Come on.
And John spake in the Spirit, saying, Behold the Lamb of God, the good shepherd, which giveth his life for the sheep. And Judas was troubled at these words, for he knew that he should betray him. But again Judas said, Master, is it not written in the law, that a lamb must be slain for the Passover within the gate? And Jesus answered, if I am lifted up on the cross, then indeed will the lamb be slain. Well, woe unto him by whom it shall be delivered into the hands of the slaves.
Now pay close attention, because Judas was up under Judas had the instruction of betraying the Messiah. Judas was numbered among the 12, but he was not one of them. He was sent in as an agent. Judas knew and understood that all of the disciples, from the time that they start walking with the Messiah, from the time that they walked with John the Baptist didn't eat flesh and blood. John the Baptist didn't drink wine or strong drink. So none of his disciples did. And when those disciples started following the one that John was pointing to, none of them ate flesh and blood. None of them drank strong drink and wine. All of them followed in the footsteps of the Messiah. And even though Judas was right there with them, Judas knew what their culture and what their nature was. Judas knew these things. Yet Judas brought a lamb as a means to entrap and ensnare the Most High. And he tried to use, is it not, where's the lamb that Moses commanded? But Jesus knew that Moses never commanded anybody to kill God's creation, because God gave Moses the wisdom to write the book of Genesis, beginning with what happened from day 1 to day 6. Moses would never go against the will of the Most High when it came to his creation. So he blew that off, and now he said, is it not written in the law? Because the law is what held the people up under bondage. Because of the laws and the things that men had written in place, it became law to the people, and they were up under a great level of bondage, because the law commanded, either you kill this animal or we gonna kill you. And they didn't have no way out. So henceforth, you see the Messiah coming on the scene, and Judas now gonna bring the law up and say, is it not written in the law that a lamb must be slain? Come on, keep reading, King.
And Jesus answered, if I am lifted up on the cross, then indeed will the lamb be slain.
Indeed shall a lamb be slain. I am going to take the place of the animals that have been slaughtered. I'm coming not just to save you from the sin of killing them. I'm coming to save them from the misery that mankind have put them through in his fallen state. Come on.
But woe unto him by whom it shall be delivered into the hands of the slaves. It were better for him that he had not been born. Verily I say unto you, for this end have I come into the world, that I may put away all blood offering, and the eating of the flesh of the beast.
He did what? He did what?
He came to put away all blood offerings and the eating of the flesh of the beast and the bird.
You know why? Because that was the sin that he came to save his people from, that they were committing against the Most High. He said, for this end have I come into the world, to put away all shedding of innocent blood and the eating of the flesh of the creatures. Read it again.
It says, verily I say unto you, for this end have I come into the world, that I may put away all blood offering, and the eating of the flesh of the beasts and birds that are slain by men. In the beginning, God gave to all the fruits of the tree.
You see what he's doing? He's taking you, redirecting you back to God's righteous canon. And you can say that the gospel of the Holy 12 ain't a canonized book, but look at what the Messiah is doing. Did he not become the lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world? But he didn't just leave you there. He took you back to let you know why he was going to be slain. Because I'm going to be slain because of the promise that the Most High made Adam, that I will restore him back to the place that he fall from. So he said, go ahead, read it again, King.
He said, in the beginning.
In the beginning.
God gave to all the fruits of the tree.
He gave to all. That means mankind and the beasts.
The fruits of the trees and the seed and the herbs for food. But those who love themselves more than God or their fellows corrupt their ways, and brought disease into their bodies, and filled the earth with lust and power.
See, there's your line of distinction. Either you're going to obey God or you're going to obey your own Adamic nature. Ain't no in-between ground. And ain't nothing wrong with you celebrating the Passover, commemorating the one that was murdered for us to be set free from our sin. But how can you be set from your sin if you still got a piece of steak in your mouth? You ain't been set free from your sin until you go back. That's why he reminds you, in the beginning, God gave all, man and the beast. Who can come against what God done from day 1 to day 6? Who could stop the sun from shining? Who could cause daylight to cease? Who could cause night to cease? Who could cause the moon and the stars to cease from hanging in the sky? Who could cause the firmament and the air and the waters and the clouds and the rains to cease from falling on the earth? Who can cause the grass to stop growing? Who can cause the tree to stop growing? Who can cause the tree to quit producing fruit? Who can cause the fish and the animals in the ocean to cease? Who could cause the waters to pass his commandment and his decree? Who could do those things? That's God's righteous canon. It is unchangeable. It's been here since the day that the Most High done anything. The only thing that can fail out of order with the Most High's balance is mankind. And he came to put that back. And you either believe it or you don't. You either believe it or you don't. He said, for this end, I've come into the world to put away all blood offerings. That means that there won't be no spilling of blood. And if somebody is spilling the creature's blood in a slaughtering house, you have brought back the thing that he came to put away for. So his death is in vain. I know this is strong beat. I know this is something that you ain't never heard before. I know it's something that you ain't used to, but put it up against what God done from day 1 to day 6 that he declared was good. And you see if it line up. If it lines up, then you better find a way to be obedient to it. If it don't line up, then you're in trouble. You better find a way to repent. But one thing that's for sure, it ain't gonna change. It ain't gonna change. It's not gonna change. It ain't gonna change. And I'm not harping on people, because I've been guilty myself. From the time that I was a kid, I can't never remember when I was first challenged to go 40 days without no flesh and blood. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know, because I ain't never went a day in my life without eating flesh and blood. I ain't never went a day in my life without eating a hamburger, without eating a steak, without eating chicken wings. But when the conviction of the Spirit come and show you that even though you're trying to serve me, you're still in error. You done changed everything. You might quit smoking. You might quit drinking. You might quit fornicating. But none of those things was the reason that Adam fell into sin. And you can do 100 things that you can stop on your own. But if you fail to get this one thing right that I'm commanding you, all of it's in vain. He said, but you can get this one thing right, and I'll give you the power to start overcoming these other things. You either believe it or you don't. You see, the Passover that the Messiah dealt with his disciples, there wasn't no lamb. Now ask yourself this. If the Messiah came to abolish the law of sacrifice, why would the Messiah send the disciples out in the King James Version and tell them to go find a lamb to be slaughtered when he was going to be the lamb that would be slain before the foundation of the world? Why would the Messiah do that? You can't see the corruption in it. You can't see the corruption in it. The King James Bible is one book, but we can pull out 5 or 6 books that will line up with each other and say the same exact thing. And even though they tell the same story that the Bible tells, it's only one part that has been interjected in there that have warped the mindset of men. And they had to make the Messiah a flesh eater in order to make people feel comfortable with eating flesh. That's why you don't see These things that we are reading from are the written account of the apostles and the Messiah himself. These things are the things that we talked about when we first started the video about those that canonized things, that they left out the most important things, the things that would change a man's heart, the things that would change a man's mind. They left out, and then they interjected that part of their culture because they were the ones that were killing all of the creation. You either believe it or you don't. But whenever you get through, you're going to have to deal with from Genesis chapter 1, from day 1 to day 6. And as difficult as it may seem like it is, it may be difficult because it's all we ever known. But the Most High, he ain't moved by what we feel like. We either it's going to be right or it's going to be wrong. Read it again, King.
Yes, sir. Where you want me to
To
start
this
at?
end.
All right. It says, "Verily I say unto you, for this end have I come into the world, that I may put away all blood offering and the eating of the flesh of the beast and the bird that are slain by men. In the beginning, God gave to all the fruits of the trees and the seed and the herbs for food. But those who love themselves more than God or their fellows corrupted their ways and brought disease into their bodies and filled the earth with lust and violence. Not by shedding innocent blood, but by living a righteous life shall you find the peace of God."
See?
Ye call, let me finish it out. "Ye call me the Christ of God, and ye say, well, for I am the way, the truth, and the life."
See? You call me Christ, but you ain't hear me. I'm telling you what I came to do. I'm telling you what you was doing. I'm telling you what I came to do. And I'm telling you why I'm coming to do it. I'm taking you back to the beginning when God said everything was good. But the only way you're going to be able to receive that is you're going to have to get into a faith fight with yourself. Because the only thing that can stop you from being obedient to the Most High is your own lust and personal rebellion. Either you're going to love yourself more or you're going to be obedient to the Father. He said, now in the beginning, this is what the Most High done. And this is what he had given you. But those that love themselves, they're going to step on what the Most High say, even though they say that they believe in Jesus. Even though they say that they believe in the Messiah. Don't you know when brothers hear video like this, even though they say Yahweh, Yeshua, they'll say they believe in the Messiah, but they don't believe in the Messiah enough to go back to where the Messiah is pointing them to the beginning. They don't believe in it enough. They love themselves. They love what their forefathers was doing. They love all of these things. So let me show you something else about your Passover. King, I want you to pull up Jubilees chapter 6.
All right. Let's grab my book. Where do you want me to start?
I want you to start reading at the 38th verse.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says, "For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will dispute them, so that they will not make the year 364.
Okay, here you go about your Passover. Let's listen closely. I want you to listen closely. All right? Let's take off and read, start from the beginning. Pay very close attention, people. Because we're about to go into a season to where brothers are about to start having all kind of functions and everything. People about to start spending their money, jumping on planes, going to gatherings and everything else. But I want you to pay attention closely to the scripture. Go ahead.
It says, for this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death thy children will dispute them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals. And they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
Keep on.
And in the 7th week in the first year thereof, in this Jubilee, Noah planted vines on the mountain on which the ark had rested, named Reuben. On the arid mountain. Now, see, this chapter 7. This going to
No. Okay. Hold on. Well, I'm gonna back you up. So 38 was about the last verse. So what I want to do, I want to back you up until. Let's see. I want to get the right place, King, because this is very important right here. This is very important. Jubilee 6th chapter. Let's see. This is very important right here. Okay, we're going to start, I do believe. Okay, we're going to start at verse 28. Verse 28. Start reading. Brothers and sisters that's on the line, I want you to pay very close attention. Have your ears on so that you can hear.
Oh, man. We probably need to go back, Sam. But what you say, 28?
Yep. Start reading at 28.
And on the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. And on this account he ordained them for himself as feasts, for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks. From one to another passed their memorial. From the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. And all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks of days, and these will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraved and ordained on the heavenly tablet. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year, or for a year, from year to year.
See, there ain't no neglecting this commandment. You see, when the Most High structured thing, the Most High structured the year to be according to 364 days. And it ain't no getting around it. Ain't no climbing over it. This is what it was. And that's what it's going to be. And it ain't changing. Come on, keep going.
And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the 6 according to this reckoning, 364 days.
To command them that they will observe it according to this reckoning, 364 days. Go ahead.
And these will constitute a complete year.
These will constitute a complete year. Let's show you what's about to happen in the next month. Then you come back and tell me that it wasn't a prophecy that was true. That one brother gonna have a Passover this week. Another brother gonna have a Passover next week. Another one gonna have a Passover into the next month. You come back and tell me that it don't happen just like I'm saying it's happening, because this is what's written in the scripture. Let's go.
All right. And they will not be disturbed this time from his days and from his feet. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony. And they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feet. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandments, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from its order. And they will disturb the seasons and the years. Come on. And will be dislodged. And they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of years. and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and they will go wrong as to all the orders of the year. For I know from henceforth will I declare it unto thee, and it is not of my own devising, for the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the divisions of days is ordained, lest they forget the feast of the covenant, and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance. For there will be those who will assuredly make observation of the moon, how it disturbs the season, and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. For this reason, the years will come up upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony.
They gonna make
And
what?
Abominable day.
They're going to make an abominable day, the day of testimony and feasting, because they don't know how to observe the year according to a 364-day-a-year calendar. And because we went into slavery, we forgot all of these things, and we disturbed the seasons because we moved by the Gentilic Gregorian 365-day calendar. And he said, we'll say we're doing the Passover, and we'll make an abominable day, a feast day. Read it again, King.
It says, for this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order and make an abominable day, the day of testimony, and an unclean day, a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as the months and the Sabbath and feast and jubilee. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death, thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
See, they're gonna do what the Messiah came to save them from. They're gonna heap up all of these feast days, and they're gonna eat all kind of blood. They're gonna eat all kind of blood, and they're gonna literally spit in the face of the one that they say that they believe in. The one that the Christians say Jesus is Lord, got a pork chop or a piece of steak in his mouth, is spitting in the Messiah's face that came to put away the killing of God's creation. The Israelite, he gonna do a feast day and be partakers of all kind of blood on a wrong day because he don't know what the Father's calendar is. He gonna put his Passover on the wicked Gentilic day. He gonna make a sanctified holy event into an abominable thing simply because he have ceased from understanding the 364 days that contained all of the ordinances that we were supposed to walk by. These are the things that our people are being led into as they are led themselves into the slaughter like innocent sheep because they are without knowledge. You'll take the word of what some man say, but sit at the feet of the Most High. The only thing the Most High require from us is that you will eat right, eat the things that get prescribed for you, and to love your brothers, to love his creation, and to do right and walk justly before men in this world. Not all this other extracurricular stuff. Not all this extracurricular stuff. And our people don't understand that they're being deceived. But the Bible tells you that in Matthew 24th chapter, in the last days, many false prophets shall arise in the earth, and they shall deceive many people because the brothers and sisters don't know what to look for. They don't know what to listen to, but you don't have to. Only thing you need to do is lean to God's righteous canon. You ain't got to go no farther than the first page of the first book of the Bible to come into complete cohesiveness with the will of God. God, and men keep bringing people up under bondage. You got to be a part of this organization. You got to believe in this. You got to believe in it. You got to believe in Jesus. When the Christian don't even believe in Jesus, if the Christian believed in Jesus, he would do what Jesus instructed him to do and go back to the beginning. The Israelites, we the seed of Abraham. We the seed of Abraham. Well, if you was really the seed of Abraham, you'll do what Abraham did. When Abraham was faced with having to kill his own son, he recognized how valuable that sacrifice animal was to God and refused to do another sacrifice throughout the rest of his life. If you was Abraham's seed, you would do what Abraham did, and you would go back to the beginning. You would go back to the beginning. Good God Almighty.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm right there with you. Man.
Good God Almighty. 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 Look at the condition that the people of God are in as they seek to serve Him and still seeking into greater levels of sin, won't listen to anything that the voice of the Spirit have to say, won't listen to the word of God when you see it coming to you because you love yourself more than God. This people draw close to me with their mouths, but their heart is far from me. In vain do you worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. My goodness. This is what it is. It ain't gonna change, baby. It ain't gonna change. I love you enough to tell you the truth. I love you enough to tell you the truth, and that's what I'm gonna do. This ain't no popularity contest. I know that brothers ain't gonna like this. This interrupts your Hebrew gathering. This interrupts your Passover feast. This interrupts your Sunday morning service. This interrupts all that religiosity. But I'm gonna tell you, baby, you ain't got to worry about nobody telling you that you're going to hell. You ain't got to worry about nobody telling you being cut off from your people. All you got to do is go to the first book of the Bible and rip the first page out and put that in your pocket, and you walk around with it, and you go outside and you look at the sun that's still hanging in the sky that God declared would be there from the time that He ever spoke it into existence. You go out there and breathe in the air that God put there. You go out there and look at them trees. You look at the water. You look at the things that God created that are still here. You can find God's righteousness, and ain't no man got to be whispering in your ear, but it's your responsibility to do that. It's all of yours.
All praises, brother. All praises.
I got to end the video. We'll come back later.